Martyn Smith for the bass sessions with Hill and Don Powell from Slade.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us. We're at Upton 2013. The lads are just about to go on
that's
in
right.
a little while.
Yeah.
So just kind enough to take a bit of time to have a quick chat with us. Just about to go on. What sort of preparation are you doing at this sort of stage? You were saying earlier you've just come in from Austria. What's your day been like?
We've been away for 3 days. We've been playing to city centres and all sorts of stuff, and it's been really nice. And then I was looking forward to this because Upton, and obviously Malvern, Elgar country. I'm an Elgar fan anyway, and I just love this area. It's just so beautiful, and to have really good weather like you have at the moment is a real plus, isn't it? You know, because it's like with festivals, and especially if you've got families. And I think it was just like we're doing this gig, and for us, you see, we've been, Don and I have been together nearly 50 years. We've been
50 years, this year our 50th year.
Really?
Because Don and I formed Slade, you see, and we've been together the longest. We bought, I think it was 1963 or something like that, when we actually came together as two people, and we've been through the whole career of Slade, and now we're carried on, and we're playing to people all over Europe, and obviously we're doing a British tour as well. In fact, we're doing Birmingham Town Hall, so we're looking forward to with Sweet also on the bill, which should be real nice. So we're here at Upton, and I think it's a lovely day. Everybody seems really friendly. I went up the village, and then I went in the Swan and met the manager, and he looked after me. And next thing I know, I got a little mini crowd in the bar.
Like you said, you were doing a bit of a Q&A.
A bit of sort of audience with, around a pint.
And with so just. Do you do any kind of special preparations before a show? Have you got anything that you do?
Not really, no. It's just really special, just chilling out.
Yeah, I think
before the gig.
obviously we normally do a sound check. We can't at a festival this time, so we usually prepare that way. We do a sound check, then we go back to the hotel, everything's set, and then we come and do the show.
Yeah.
Whereas here, it's more like the guys Don has to go and check his kit and do the old bump it, and check the guitars, and hopefully everything will work. And then we get on with the songs, really. And sometimes it can work out really nice like that, because it's a bit like too much preparation doesn't always work, And I think it's more about hoping that people know the tunes.
I would say they probably do.
And I do intend to do possibly the Christmas song for a bit of fun.
Absolutely.
Although it's not Christmas.
It's what we're getting there.
I've been asked for it, and I just thought, what the heck, it's a hit record,
Sure.
But I like playing in our country because this is where we started. This is who we are. We're Midland people. Don comes from Bilston. I come from Wolverhampton. We grew up here, and I think some of the best music's come out of the Midlands anyway, as you know.
I was going to ask lads, being Midlanders yourselves, and without doubt one of the biggest Midland bands there's ever been. Is it special to be doing things in this part of the world fairly close to home? Does that give it an edge?
Well, it's a bit more convenient when you want to get home.
It's quite nice actually, because it's not very often we get to play around this area.
No.
So it's nice to see a lot of faces that you actually know, either from school or from from the time.
We used to get people turning up we haven't seen for years, old school teacher or something. I told you I wouldn't make it.
You never amount to anything.
It'll come to nothing, that group.
Could do better, something.
I remember the reports. Yes, lacks concentration, easily distracted.
And so, do you still, as you say, you've been in the business for quite a while now. You were saying 50 years you guys have been together.
Yeah.
You still get the same vibe? You still get the same buzz?
Oh yeah, I think it's great. I've always said as soon as I start to lose that, I'll be out.
We both agreed together that when we decide that we don't enjoy it anymore, then we won't carry on. But at the moment,
we're having a great time.
I would say that Don and I, in the last 20 years that we've carried on with the name, haven't we? We've probably met and played to more people in our entire career with the previous band. And it's because of the original band and the original songs that we work. And the point is, you go out there and you play. We go to Russia, we go to East Bloc countries, we meet people with great stories of childhood. You know, because, I mean, you think of England, you think people come to you and say, oh, when I was at school and you were doing this. But then when you meet Russians who are hardly speaking English and they go, I don't want, you know, at school and this sort of explain to you. And it sounds like, and you never knew they were listening. You know, you just didn't know how many people you reach.
And I mean, the great thing about places like the old Eastern Bloc, now it's opened up. I mean, like in Moscow, we play the Olympic Stadium to like 18,000 people.
Yeah.
You know, it's great. We go right across the country, and it's just phenomenal.
We've
places you never ever think you'd go and get to see.
No. Vladivostok, still in Japan. You know, we went across there, you know, and it took 8 hours from actually Moscow, but we're still in the same country, and it's a phenomenal size. And you think, well, who's going to know us way over there? But they do. You know, you see them singing the tunes, you know, and they don't even speak your language.
And I guess probably with a long career behind you, you've had a chance to build up such a huge fan base. And that must be quite nice, I would guess, that you've got people who can go back all of those years with you as well.
Yeah.
Plenty to talk about.
Well, it's great really, because especially I think what you really sort of, what's really a nice push is when you meet sort of politicians or heads of state.
Oh yeah.
And they say, I'm not really supposed to say this, but I was a big fan when I was a teenager. You know, like the Crown Prince in Denmark, or you know, sort of like the Russian state people.
I mean, we had this one guy, right, and he booked us for a hotel, and it was like, how's he doing this? He owns an energy company in Russia, right? He's a massive Slade fan. He's 50 years of age. He's having a special birthday, and he hires this hotel. It's a 5-star top quality hotel in St. Petersburg.
About 12 limousines.
12 limousines, and he was like, oh my God, you know, this is like, you know, top of the range. And he's just got a thing about one of our songs, so he said, I want you to start with that song, I want you to finish with that song, you know. And it wasn't one of our biggest hits, but he was a lovely man, and it was great. I mean, there's another couple of guys we met, not so very long. Do you know who the Klitschko brothers are? The boxers, they're famous.
Yeah.
And we ended up doing a gala for them. We went up on stage and sang a couple of acoustic numbers for their gala, because they raised money for Ukrainian kids, right? And they're like enormously big, these guys, you know. I mean, I'm small, but it was like looking at these guys, but they're really lovely. And they came, one of them came to the show and introduced us on stage, and I'll give them a guitar. I mean, it was just like, they're very charming, they're really nice guys, big boxers and all that, you know. But those are the situations that sometimes we find ourselves in, you know. I mean, to be honest with you, you could probably get Putin coming to our show because he's probably a fan, or at least he'd know the music. And in Russia, it's interesting because our music has a definite impact on Russian culture. You know, the young people of Russia are very much into the image and the sound, you know, and they stick with you as well, because it's not like, you know, like the way it is these days, you know, here today, gone tomorrow, very quickly. It was about a long career, which it grows. It's a bit like Beatles, you know. Beatles don't get less popular, and half of them are dead. But the point is, the music lives, you know, and the music reaches new people as well, because you get not only the fans coming, but they bring the kids, and the kids go, oh, I know this song, you know, my dad played it. And it's not like they're going, oh, that's old music. They don't see it like that. Because I mean, look at the amount of people going to see the Stones, you know. I mean, they're 70, you know. But I mean, most people that go and see them weren't even around when they first had a hit, you know.
And of course, you get a lot of recognition. Your songs are played by the newer big bands of now, if you like.
Yeah, Oasis, yeah.
The thing is, it's like a certain Oasis recording, Come On Feel the Noise.
Yeah.
We go and play it on stage. It's our song, right? And they say, oh, you're playing an Oasis song.
I'm not even going to go there. Yeah, and was a group called Quiet Riot, and they had a number one with Come On
Yes.
Feeling Us in America.
Absolutely.
We couldn't get it in the charts. So when we went to America, we were touring with Ozzy, and we were playing Come On Feeling Us, and I went, oh, it's Quiet Riot song, you know. It's not.
I suppose that's got the best kind of flattery in a way, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it's great, really. You know, really
Yeah,
is.
Noel Gallagher's a nice guy. I've met him, and I know he likes our music. He's a good writer, and you know, it's always nice when you know that you've influenced and people have actually made it. I know that even the early stage of Duran Duran, I'd met the bass player a long time before they made it, and he was a fan. And you find out like Spandau Ballet and all sorts of groups from the 80s were influenced by the 70s music, you say. They've got to be, haven't they? You know. Although a lot of electronic music, they were listening to us. And I went to see, what's his name, James Blood, right? And I'm watching him on stage doing his big album, you know. And then he went into a Slade song, our first number one. I said, what's he doing playing that, you know? And he's like, oh, he says to me, he says, oh, I wanted to play that, I really love it. And I was thinking, really, I can't imagine him listening to a Slade song, you
It
know.
must be a huge kind of.
Yeah,
it
but-
must
It's a great push.
But he liked the record, you see. And I suppose no different from us playing Beatles songs when we were young, you know. I mean, we had so much good music to learn off, you see. And when we learnt off all these American stars, you know, Elvis and Buddy Holly and all those people, that's where we learnt our songs from, you see. We learnt how to write and, you know, we had a great manager, Chas Chandler.
Chas Chandler, yeah.
Yeah, he was Jimi Hendrix manager as well. So he looked after us. And he was a great producer.
Different is the music industry now compared to perhaps when you were on the way up, if you like? What's changed?
Well,
It's like big business now, and it's like
Yeah.
lawyers. You know, it's not managers and things like that now. It's lawyers.
It's
It's the legal department.
yeah, it's a different kind of way. I mean, I download like everybody else does, you know. So the actual hard copy of a record is missing, you know. Whereas a person in the 70s would have bought his vinyl, and it would have been a ritual to take it home and play it. So you play the vinyl record, it's big, you have a big cover, big picture, pull out sleeves. The whole thing was like, it might have cost you, I don't know, 2 months worth of saving up to buy the album. But there were a lot of records sold then, and the little 45s that we used to sell. And of course there's a big sort of following towards vinyl these days. I don't know, I think we're going through an interesting phase at the moment where people have a tendency to get fed up of digital music, you know. I mean, I know technology because I've learnt it. And I know that a lot of people, sometimes when you've got a lot of people doing the same thing, they're using the same stuff. And it's originality that might be missing here and there. Whereas you then step outside of it and you suddenly find people with acoustic guitars are starting to be heard, you know. And people are looking for songs because I think it's important that you can produce a bad song, but it'll always be a bad song, no matter how well it sounds.
Songs are the key to it all, aren't
And I think, like us, it's all about the music, you know. When we play, although there's only 2 of us in Slade now, it's about what we do and what we did. Because those are the things, and same as you and what you grew up with, what you grew up with, you did. You have your songs that you grew up with, and you'll always remember them. And I think these days, apart from Adele, who's remarkable. Someone comes out and then they go, wow, you know, which is great to see. I think the way things are marketed, someone can become like, oh, they're the biggest things to the Beatles, you know. They're not. They have no aspect to how big the Beatles were because they had years and years and years of great songs. But what we've got these days is, I'm not a fan of the X Factor as such, because I think sometimes artists go on there, they're only young, and they might have potential to become something, but will get rubbished on a show like that and won't stand a chance of doing anything. I think sometimes it's better, although it's, if you treat it as entertainment, a show like that is entertaining, if that's what you want. But I think in other ways, it's not so good, because it's a manufactured situation. And sometimes a manufactured group will make it, but I guess that they won't be around much longer. And in years to come, will you remember anyway?
They don't seem to have much of a shelf life, do they?
No, I think, I mean, if I was young and I was doing it now, I'd probably want to grab the opportunities because I'm young, you know, a young person. And you know, some people want to be really famous really quickly with no effort whatsoever, just want to be there. Like, get me on a show, I want to be famous. It doesn't work that way. And fame is not something, I mean, although we're famous, it was a growing thing. And it's not about us going around saying we're famous. It's part of something we love and believe in, you know. And it was worked on over the years. And it's almost like, I mean, I walk the street like anybody else does, and I go in Sainsbury's or I go in the Co-op or whatever, because I like being part of people, you know. That I walk around and I can say hello to somebody, and they think I'm their mate, you know, or something like that. I like that because that's real, and it's all about being real for me. And I'm sure it's the same for Don, you know, is that we like to have what you call a normal life. Like I like mowing the garden, you know, mowing the lawn. I like doing things what everybody does, you know. I enjoy that. And yet when I walk on stage, that's what I do.